Good morning, everybody. It is time for our coffee chat. We are doing this a day early. We normally do this every other Friday on Creations of Studio 39, and then the other Friday we will be on Amy's page, and we had to do it on Thursday this week because, Amy, what is it you have to do tomorrow?
Jury duty. Yay.
Yeah. So we just decided we still wanted to kind of keep on track because there were a couple times over the summer and early fall that we missed. So we wanted to go ahead and kind of keep on track with doing every other Friday. And I think this is a topic that whether you're creative, whether you're in business, whether you are a human, like I think that this setting goals is important, especially as we come up to 2024, because I think I saw somewhere today, it might have been in my memories, Amy, we're 45 days away from the new year as of today.
Wow.
45 days. So I want to show you what I have. I have my new red cup I just got.
Beautiful. Didn't you guys do a post with that? Because I'm like, whoa, that's a pretty cup.
I did. So I'll tell you what, this is just a little side note here that Amy's got our coffee mug that she made. So I would normally have that mug. This is keeping it really hot too. Like, I don't even know if I'll be able to drink it for a little bit. So email marketing works. I will just tell you because I am, on Starbucks mobile app email list, all their things. And I'm on another coffee, Big B Coffee, their email list, rewards, all the things. And both of them have been sending me out emails. And I got an email yesterday that said today was Red Cup Day. I'm like, I didn't even know there was a Red Cup. What's Red Cup Day? And it said if you order a holiday drink that you would get a holiday red cup, like a reusable red cup. So it's, it's like a nice.
Oh, it's reusable.
Oh yeah. This was my coffee. This is my reusable cup.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So I thought yesterday when I got it, I thought, well, that would mean I would have to go up before our coffee chat and probably get the coffee because I would figure that they would probably run out. Who knows how many they have. And last night, my husband's been sick and I was out last night at helping a friend with a paint party, and he coughed. He said like the whole time that I was gone, and he wanted me to go get some cough medicine. And I thought, oh, well, tomorrow morning, this was last night, tomorrow morning when I go out to get the cough medicine, I'll just get some coffee and it'll be early and I'll get the red cup. So what they do, it had to be a holiday one. So do you want to guess what I got in my cup?
Something peppermint, maybe. That's my guess.
I have gotten the minty drinks. That's not my favorite. My husband really likes the minty drinks. There are a couple of ones that almost beat out pumpkin spice. Like, I think a lot of the places still have the pumpkin spice. My new favorite is the gingerbread latte. It's got a lot of the same, the same spices in there. So that's what I got in my cup today. So if you got a holiday drink, then you got and so what they do, they have their little mobile station and they had this and then they had this sitting on top of it. So when you picked it up, you got both of them. So yeah, that's all I got.
You're big on Starbucks and I'm big on Dunkin' Donuts. We do have a Starbucks about 15 minutes from me, but Dunkin' Donuts literally every day when I take my walk, it's just right around the corner.
Closer.
And I have the app and they give me all kinds of perks and stuff as well. So that's my fave over there. So
yeah. I passed by a Dunkin' Donuts to get to Starbucks, and there's a Big B right there, like all the coffee places. And one of the reasons I don't go to Dunkin', I'm sure they give similar rewards and all the stuff. I really didn't like their pumpkin spice, and I don't really like Big B pumpkin spice. So if I'm going to go this time of year, I'm usually going to Starbucks because I like all their holiday drinks and everything. So anyway, I see Nilda joining us. She says the GM, that's her little code for good morning. So
Good morning,
yeah.
Nilda.
So is your popping on? Tell us if you got your red cup. No. Like wait, if you're drinking coffee, tea, whatever, or the mushroom coffee everybody's talking about. So yeah.
I haven't tried that. I don't like mushroom. I think I'll stay clear of that.
I do not either, but I continue to have people tell me about how wonderful it is for all different kinds of reasons. So, Diana said that she's waiting for some contractors. Diana has a lot of things going on in her life right now. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Congratulations, though, Diana. I know you're getting places, so that's awesome.
And I have no idea, Diana, what mango kefir is. Is that like a milk? Is a kefir? Is it kind of like a milky like product? I don't even know.
It's some kind of health drink. I know one of my kids drinks that.
So is it full of like probiotics or something like that?
Probably. I didn't really ask, but she was like, "Oh, you should try it." I'm like, nah. I'm kind of picky. Judy's got Pepsi.
Nilda said a liquid yogurt. Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty descriptive. I get that. I don't know that I'd want to drink yogurt though.
I'm very picky, apparently. Everything we're talking about, I'm like, I don't like that. I just like my favorite is my Folgers coffee that I make, and I put in my French vanilla creamer. Sometimes I do my little frother, but today it's just my regular hot coffee. Tim bought me a Ninja, which is amazing, and I use that thing all summer to make frozen smoothies and frozen coffees. It saves me a lot of money too. Yeah. I mean, he was like, well, that thing was a little pricey, but he doesn't care. He's like, I'll get you what you want. But I'm like, well, if you consider how many trips I make to Dunkin' Donuts, it's, gonna say.
Yeah, it paid for itself.
Yeah. Within a month, it paid for itself for sure. So I'm like, awesome.
That's awesome. So Diana said that she said the same thing about drinking yogurt, that she didn't think that she would drink it. So Nilda said that she is making homemade, where's my mouse here? Homemade cappuccinos. So my husband got a cappuccino the other day, and I know that there are all these different, not to get off on a whole coffee topic, but it is a coffee chat. So
yeah.
But
I've learned a lot about coffee since we're doing our coffee.
We have, yeah. I don't know all the differences between like the latte and the cappuccino and I don't even know what all the.
I don't really either, so maybe she can let us know. But I do know that years ago I would make my own cappuccinos at Cumberland Farms, and it was just a little machine. You go put your cup there, and it makes it all frothy. So I mean, I have my frother at home, so I don't know if maybe that's just it, or maybe there's something special in it. I'm not sure.
So she says a strong Columbia coffee, and I either thought that it was strong or espresso or something, and then it just has frothy milk. So okay. And so I don't know if it's like a ratio thing that I do remember looking, and part of the reason that I get a caramel macchiato is because the macchiato has the most coffee. So that's really the only thing.
Too much caffeine. I stick to like the basic caffeine. I'm already kind of zinged up enough. So it's like, well, I don't want. And I really love dark chocolate, so I get the Ghirardello chocolate, and I have like one little square a day. I can't have it too close to bedtime, or I'm like up, because that has that kind of gets your mind going as well. Yeah. So it's like, oh, I can't really do too much caffeine, but I love coffee. As you know, I'm always drinking my coffee, especially during our coffee chats. But I'm a slow sipper, so I can savor it, even though it gets cold kind of fast.
I was going to say, then do you have to go like heat it up?
I just keep taking my coffee pot and just, warming it up a little bit that way. So, yeah.
And just pouring a little bit more in. Oh, that's funny.
My husband will just like guzzle it down. I'm like, hey, what the heck? What are you going to be like,
This is keeping my coffee so hot. I'm going to take my my little thing off this one and put it on my. It's still really hot.
Well, my daughter Emily bought me this. Oh, it was so nice. I think it was for my birthday, maybe this past May. But she bought me this eco-friendly coffee travel mug. It's got a nice handle and everything. It's like a mauve color, and it has this really cool cover on it that different parts that you can push to like cover the whole thing to keep it totally nice and warm, and it does stay warm for a long time.
Oh,
Or
wow.
I can pull back and just let a little bit of air in if I want, so that it's not so piping hot when I go to drink it. But I carry that mug around everywhere. It goes with me when I take road trips and all that stuff. So yeah,
Oh,
that's my thing.
I had told you that I was going to stream this over to CBOB, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And oh, I got to find it on my page first, don't I? So go ahead while I'm doing this, Amy, and kind of start us off with what we're talking about today. Hey there, Terry.
All right. Well, I was thinking you were going to teach me something today, but I did because I got my notebook ready like I always do. Uh,
Oh,
but
that's
I
good.
did, in all honesty, I jotted some notes down before we came on today. And we're talking about, goal setting for the new year. And, I don't have like a strict kind of routine, but I did write myself some little cheat notes here to kind of, or, thought joggers or whatever you want to call them. But I did, last year, I was thinking back, I did set some particular goals for myself. Um, Mostly they were financial for my business on what not to invest in because I'm still a little fish in a big pond when we look at the whole scope of things, right?
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let
And
us
I
know if
did,
you're the same. Yeah.
yeah. And I did actually follow those three goals that I set for myself. They basically were like, okay, I'm going to hold back from investing in this year, which helped my business financially get a little further ahead. Now, I did start running a Facebook ad for recently. I did a Facebook ad. So that was one little oopsie, but it's almost the end of the year. But that was one of my things that, okay, I'm going to hold off on ads. I
Mm,
mostly teach artists how to promote and market, organically anyway. But once you get to like a certain, and I'm not teaching Facebook ads, but I have taken a course and membership
yeah.
on it myself. So that's what I was I did start implementing that again. But I feel pretty proud of myself. Good morning, Madeline. Thanks for being here.
I
So
shared it to your group too, by the way.
well, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Every time you and I are on stream, not just you and I, when I was on with Cheryl the other day on StreamYard and I go to do anything to share whatever, we get horrendous feedback. And even if I have the sound down on my phone, it'll start screeching. So it's like, I don't know what my issue is with
Oh,
StreamYard.
wow.
I love StreamYard, but it does give me some glitches. But anyway, um, I like to look back at the year and see what worked and what didn't work. And the things
That,
that are
yeah.
working for me, I'm going to continue to do. And the things that are not working for me, I'm going to contemplate on that a little bit. Like, is this something that I should pivot and keep trying? Or should I just call it a wash and just move on?
Hmm.
So that's going to be different for all of you when you look at your businesses and your goals or even creative goals or whatever it is. That seems to help me a lot because then I can keep things more in aligned. So there are some things that I'm going to be pivoting that I've already started to pivot a little bit. And then some things that I'm like, okay, well, that didn't work. Another
So I
thing is,
think that you just talked about like 10 different things right there. Like you didn't even realize that you did.
oh, at the beginning of my list. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there were so many things that I think that to break down, because being the teacher that I am, I'm always kind of thinking about a step by step, 1, 2, 3, kind of organizing things in that way. So I heard all the things that you were saying and I thought, oh, yes, do this, this, and this, and, kind of breaking it down. So I was just talking with someone this morning about, I think when you look back, the big thing is, and here's what I would say about this. I think that it's really important right now, today, while you're on here live, anybody who's watching, set a date before the end of the year to have this little review session that like Amy's talking about. So, and it needs to be like a pretty lengthy set of, amount of time, like a 2 or 3 hour time block that you set aside. Go somewhere, go to a coffee shop, go someplace quiet, go out in nature, go like away from, so you have that blocked off time. And the other thing that I was thinking, I think that when you look back and you review the things of what went well and what didn't go well, you have to do it with no judgment.
Yes.
It has to just be, here are the numbers.
Yep.
Here's the time here, whatever the metrics, I guess, would be like whatever the data, you're just looking at the data based on this, and this. Here's the, amount of people that I reached. Here's the vehicle that I use to market, whatever, a challenge group, a in-person, an event, Facebook event, whatever it is. And then how many people did I convert?
I'm glad you brought that up.
3 messages. Yeah, metrics.
In the beginning of my business, like I would be hurt, like if something didn't
right.
work. But you're totally right. And the data does tell a story. It tells a story about what's working, what's not working. So, you can check your analytics for that. If you make spreadsheets, you can go back and look at that. Whatever it is you do to keep track, or just, even checking your posts to see, what gets the most interest, engagement, views, things like that. So that'll kind of give you clues into, what seems to be working.
Yeah. And whatever was working, do more of that. Right? So I think the thing there is, you have to do the things. When we're talking about reviewing, you have to do the things so that you have the metrics to be able to evaluate so that you can do more of it.
Yeah.
And I think where so many people get hung up is they don't ever try the things to know and have the data to even know if it worked or not. And when I say worked or not, that's going to depend on your metrics. I think we need to have big goals. And I think that's even how, we titled this coffee chat. But at the same time, I think that we need to base how we do things. And that was the next thing that you had talked about that I was going to break down. But you have the big goals, but then you have to break them down to what you realistically do every day. Because I follow a couple of different people that are big on habits and goals and mindset and all of the things around that. And they all say, and somebody should type this up in the comments, write this down somewhere, put it on a Post-it note. The purpose of setting big goals is not to attain the goals. It's to become the person that you need to be. It's to change habits, mindsets, whatever that is, on the way to those big goals. That's the purpose. So setting the big goals, yes. I have some really big goals that I want to set, and we can kind of reverse engineer maybe 1 or 2 of those and kind of break those down. But that's something that I'm kind of learning. I've made vision boards. Tell us in the comments if you've made vision boards. And, I put all kinds of different things on there. I'll probably, as part of my review, go back and look at the vision board that I made. Well, I made 2 for this year, and see what I accomplished from those, what happened from those. And I would probably say, just because I've done this a couple of years now, I probably only reached maybe 20% of those goals. But the person that I am from January 1st of last year is a lot different. Right? So I wanted to mention that. I see some other people popping on. I see Jenny and Judith and Janet, and so and I thought that I saw oh yeah, Diana says she follows Stu McLaren, who says do more of what works and less of what doesn't.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good thing to follow. Yeah. So
Pretty straightforward.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think as creatives, we all connect with the vision board, whether you're making a small one, a big one, or however you want to do it. I've got digital vision boards. I even make inspirational things that that make sense to me, and I use them as screensavers on my laptop. So
Yes.
it's awesome. So every day when I press to open, it's like, voila, that's a reminder. I'm working towards this.
Exactly. And I think that that's what a vision board is, especially for people who are more visually minded and creative, that it gives you a focus. It gives you the focus. It's not to beat yourself up like, oh, I didn't reach that goal. Oh, that didn't happen. That's never going to happen. It's not about that at all. It just gives you a focus. And I always think of like keeping your blinders on, right? It helps you to keep your blinders on so you're focused on those things rather than all of the, because there's always going to be stuff. There's always going to be things. There's always going to be your stuff that you have to work through, deal with, circumstance, whatever. But if you keep your blinders on, you keep the focus on, and you think about those things. You don't think about the other things. I'm not saying that you're just completely ignoring those and you're not feeling, whatever those are, but you just have to keep focused and just like keep moving forward, taking action. So
I'm really loving what there. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try to drink my coffee and see if it's cooled off enough.
Okay. I'm loving what Nilda said about, she said she thinks she's going to do a vision board with the stats so that she can visually see what she did accomplish. I love that. Ooh. Because I as well, this is, making me think, I as well, I'm a list maker too, right? I love to write lists and cross things out. But I also love to make an accomplishment list. Like, what did I accomplish today?
Yeah.
And you can do that for like the month or the quarter or the year.
Right.
But she brings up a really good point because we do need to celebrate those little wins for ourselves.
Absolutely.
And, even in my membership, some people, when we ask for wins and stuff, they're like, oh, it's not a big win. But it's like, it doesn't matter if it's a big win or not. And most wins are little tiny wins. It's the little tiny wins that get you closer to the bigger, goal. But like you said, it's not even about, hitting that goal. It's about how you change how you change and approach things and work towards your goals.
Yeah, that was really good. So
Janet
says she's more of a list person, and I don't think that a vision board, it can definitely be words, lists. I think it's just the idea of putting it places like Amy was talking about, hanging it up, putting it on your screensaver, putting it on your phone as the wallpaper, and just having it as a focus. So a list, I think that that's, that can be a vision board too. It's the idea of it's visible.
Yeah.
Is kind of what I think of. And, I definitely have visions, like I can picture the things that I want to have happen. But for some people that may be more in words. And I think that that's fine too. It's just the idea of having it visible. So
I even, this goes along with goal setting, right? And trying to visualize and things like that. I try and cover all my bases because just like Janet, I'm a list maker. I also am very visual. So I like to make things that I can see. And my sister last year, she likes to send me little gifts just out of the blue, which is amazing.
Oh, and that's fun.
Yeah. And she sent me, actually not this blanket, it's my fuzzy blanket behind me. And with the fuzzy blanket, she had sent me a box of gratitude cards, which is so sweet, in little affirmations and stuff. But then it started, I use them, I do look at them, but I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to write my own. And this was months ago. But I did just get out. I think I might have mentioned this to you all before. I can't remember. But I just got out a stack of index cards and I
Mhm.
wrote down, right? So even if you're a
Mm.
list maker, you can write down like what your goals are. And then I just kind of use those every once in a while when I'm having my coffee, and I'll just go through my own little index cards and kind of remind myself. And it's great because this was only like a few months since I've been doing this, but some of those I've actually attained already. So it's like,
Yes.
oh my goodness, wow, it's amazing.
Yeah. I love that. That makes me think of I've done a vision board workshop the past couple of years, and just to preview a little bit, because next week is probably the week of all weeks for small business owners, right? We've got Black Friday, we've got Small Business Saturday, we've got Cyber Monday, all these things. I do have something brand new that I'm going to do, and I'm probably going to start talking about it on Wednesday. So it's actually going to be before Thanksgiving, along the vision board idea, but different, something brand new.
Don't
And
worry, I won't let the cat out of the bag.
oh, did I already tell you? Oh, okay. Amy might already know.
I thought you did. Maybe it's not what you were talking
I
to me
think you might
about.
have. I don't know.
Okay, maybe it's
But
something different.
but one of the things that I have done in the past is I have just a little book. I just go to the Dollar Tree and I get like a fun little notebook or something that has at least 50 pages in it. And I write down 100 things. Just 100 things. They aren't necessarily visions. They aren't, goals. That just 100 things that I want to do, have in the new year, right? So last year, and I'll tell you, if you've never done this, coming up with 25 or 30 things is, it might take a little bit of work, but you could probably think of like 25 or 30 things. Once you get past that, it gets a little bit more challenging. So one day last year, I just took some time, and I think I probably did it over a couple of days, but I got out the little notebook. I got my favorite little pen, and I was writing things down, and I would just like allow things to come into my mind, right? So this one idea came into my mind, and it was just bubbles. I don't know. So I just like wrote down bubbles. I had no idea what that meant. I had no idea where that would connect. And last May, I was taking a retreat, and I took my students of my Create course, a group of them, and they met me down in Florida for my retreat, my Create retreat. And I had shared with them about these bubbles. And somebody said, well, maybe we need to blow bubbles at the retreat. I was like, awesome. That's a great idea. And I forgot the bubbles. And I couldn't find any bubbles. Like, we went to the store. And Amy, do you know that the house that we rented, they had a cabinet, and there were just like some fun those little floaty things that go in the pool to hold your drink and different little things. There were bubbles. So we had a professional photographer, and she took pictures of me blowing the bubbles.
How amazing. Love it.
And it wasn't necessarily on my vision board, but it was just something that it was fun. And it was for me to just write it down and just trust that that was something and I had no idea like how that was all going to work out. So, sometimes it's just even simple little things like that. And for me, having fun like that and doing like fun like that's important to keep my sense of like playful, being a kid, and just that young attitude and just all of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
right.
Off on a big tangent there, but yeah.
That story. That's
yeah.
really
Tracy probably remembers. She was at my retreat. So, Janet said I had kept her comment up there about how she didn't make lists. So, yeah. Diane said that she had a hard time getting to 75. So
I'm going to try that. I'm going to write myself that note and try it.
Yeah. So I have the notebooks from the past couple of years. And then what you said about flipping through the cards, and some of them have happened, I'll go back, and that's part of my review for the year, is I'll go back and look at that book and see what, and it's kind of fun to see, like, and I can write down the date, of what things happen. And then maybe some of those things I carry on into the new year. And it's just kind of a fun way. And, they're just small little notebooks, so they don't take up a lot of room and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, I think that setting aside time to review and then to plan. And I kind of do the review, but then I look ahead, right, to like January 1st of 2025, or December 31st of 2024. You come to the end of the year, like, how would you like to feel at the end of the year? What would you like to have accomplished? But then you come back to the present to reverse how you would do those things and how they would. So I'm really curious, Amy, when you have a goal, whatever it is, how do you like reverse engineer, break it down so that you're working towards it?
Okay, well, I'll give you one example of my own paintings, selling my own paintings, right? So this is like a financial goal. A lot of us have financial goals because we're in business, right? So years ago, when I started to sell my
Right.
paintings online,
That's the
back in
one that I was going to
2000,
break down. So this is awesome.
yeah. So back in 2018, when I decided I'm going to go all in, I'm going to try my, my luck at this and be an artist and actually make money doing something that I love. So what I did was I figured, okay, I set myself some goals, right? I set like a big goal, like, boy, wouldn't it be great to be an artist that's very well known? And, so we should have all these different goals, right? And wouldn't it be great if I could pay off my entire mortgage with my
Right.
painting sales and things? So I set some of those goals, but then I set a goal that I felt was attainable, but it was definitely going to be a little stretch. It's going to be out
Stretch.
of my reach
Yeah.
a little bit,
Stretch
right?
goals. That's what I call those. Right.
Right. So I set myself a goal to try and pay one of my bills. I think it was the electric bill or something like that. And so I did that with my painting sale and actually hit that. So then I set another goal. What if I could pay
Yes.
more of my utility bills? And once I hit that, then I'm like, okay, what if I literally can pay my mortgage and all of my bills with my art income alone? And it was not a very long time. I'm talking like just a few months where I actually attained that goal. But what I did to reverse engineer that was very simple. I sat down with my bills and my, utilities, and I figured out exactly what that income is that I'm going to need every month. Most of you probably already know this. If not, sit down and go through it again, because sometimes it changes, right? We've got Netflix, we got this, we got that. So it's like, see what's going on financially. And then I realized that, okay, well, I have to make X amount of money every single month if I want to attain this. And then I figured, I knew I was a fast, quick painter. I knew what price point most people were purchasing my paintings
Right.
at. So I listened to my collectors and watched, my art lovers to see what they're interested in. They loved landscape paintings the most. So I'm like, I'm going to focus mostly on landscape paintings. Okay, what is the price point most of them are purchasing these at an easy sellable price? And because I'm a quick painter, I literally could make that happen. So all kinds of little tips and tricks, that I could teach you, but that's another story. But so that's what I did to reverse engineer it, was listen to my audience, see what's selling, figure out what my financial goal is for the month, and just put it out there. And I also paid attention to how many times I was listing an auction, how many times I was doing a live sale, and how many pieces did I typically have for a live sale. So I could kind of project, okay, I'm going to have to
Right. And that's what
create.
we talked about with the review. That, I was
Yeah,
kind of thinking that too.
yeah,
You can project what you could potentially make if it's a money goal based on what you had done in the
yeah,
past. So I think that ties
yeah.
together with what we were saying. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. And I was going to say the same thing about let's just say I know I still have the goal to make $100,000 in 1 year. So my business has brought in 100. Yeah. And I'm actually getting on a Zoom, or well, I think she's just doing it as a Facebook Live, of somebody that she started her business before I did, but we both took the membership experience, which was called Tribe, at the same time. So we connected there. So she's actually doing a live today to break down. She just reached her first $100,000 year. So she's going to kind of like break that down and, give some tips. So I might kind of give a little breakdown, like maybe once I hit that. But if that's a goal, I think you need to have those big goals, and I write down those big goals, and I have my vision board, and I look at those, and I have those in my mind, but then I don't necessarily focus on those. I focus on the daily actions that I need to take to get there. So if it's $100,000, I get out my calculator, I kind of divide out, what would that mean monthly? What would that mean weekly? And I kind of break it down. So from day one, when I started my business, my goal was $100 a day. If I could make $100 a day, then that was my salary. That was my income, and that would help me to generate the same amount of income that I had in my full-time job, before I quit. So I think you have to have the big goal, but then you have to break down the daily action, the smaller goals. You've got to break it down just like you were doing. You didn't say, I need to make the whatever bigger amount, every single month. You started off with something, develop the habits, develop the routines, develop the consistency, and it starts to snowball, right? And that's in any area of your life. Your finances, your health, if you have some kind of a health goal, weight loss goal, whatever around that, taking less medicines, whatever that goal is, any of those goals, it's those small daily actions that you take that are not the fun actions a lot of times, but it's pretty fun when you can pay off your mortgage every month and your bills every month because you were just doing the daily things. So yeah. I am doing something different this year that I have not done in the past, because last week I had a coaching call that I had won from a mentor. I know, it was so fun. So I've gotten a call from her before. It's Katie Horner. You can let me know in the comments. I know Tracy, at least, and a few other people that are on here follow Katie Horner because Tracy got to meet her in person at my retreat. And I won this coaching call with her last week. And really, we were kind of talking about how do you plan out ahead for like the next year and goals. And, we're kind of talking specific about my business and what that looked like. But she told me something, and a way that she planned out things that I had never really done before. So I went ahead that day and I got on Amazon and I ordered a couple of things. So I got it out of the package, but I haven't really started using it yet because I'm going to set aside that time. I'm going to set aside the time to review and to use this. So I would love to know in the comments, because I feel like maybe I'm the last one on the planet maybe to actually do this. Tell me if you have like a wall calendar for the whole year.
I know a couple of my business friends do. I personally don't, but that's awesome, Jamie.
So I got a paper one. It's not a dry erase one because I don't honestly like how dry erase pens write. Like I'm very picky about my pens. So I got a paper one, and there's enough space to write things. I'm going to get some fun highlighters and, Post-it notes. I'm probably going to start with Post-it notes.
That'll be fun for you. I actually have a couple dry erase boards, but I do a lot of writing in my Google Docs. That's kind of my brainstorm place and where I do my daily diary or work diary or whatever. And that's where I can kind of set my goals and break them down. So that's how I do it. But yeah, that's amazing for you, Jamie. Congratulations. It's going to be so much fun.
The,
And you're so creative. It's going to be fun
well,
to.
I've had like a desk calendar that has the full year, month to month, and that kind of helps. I saw Janet says she doesn't have wall space. Janet, I am with you because I've had to look around in my little studio space here, like, where could I put this? And I think I have it's like down low. I wouldn't be able to actually write on it where it would be. But this one rolls up. So I might, plan it all out, but then I will actually not have
What
it.
is it on, like little brackets or something, and you can pull it down and up? Is that what you mean? Like it rolls out?
It has like a little. I'm gonna pull it out because I don't know exactly.
Because that would be
It has
kind of
like a
cool.
little hanging. So it does have like a plastic, up here, so it'll be weighted down a little bit. But it has this little tab.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, just to hang it.
That.
So I don't need to use tape or, so it would be easy to remove off the so I think it was like, it was like $10 or something, maybe.
Yeah. Nice. That's fun.
So it was pretty inexpensive. But I think that's really going to help me to like lay out my year a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because what I've found is I have these ideas and then they overlap too much on the calendar because I don't have the big picture.
Yeah.
So are you a big picture kind of thinker?
Well, honestly, I struggle with that sometimes too myself. And when I do try and plan ahead and have a bigger picture, it is much easier because then you can break it down.
Like, I don't know why I didn't think about it.
But don't feel bad, Jamie, because that is one of my struggling points as well with making goals. And I think maybe a lot of creatives can relate to this. It's because we're creative and we're always thinking up ideas and things like that.
Yeah.
So you're right. Sometimes they do kind of overlap and things like that. I am a big action taker. So usually like when I get a bright idea, it's like, okay, I'm going to try it and just do this. But I know that if I take the time to actually, have more broken down goals, bigger, and then break them down for the year, which I have done, it does make it a little bit easier. Then it's like, okay, now I know what I'm rolling towards this month or this week or whatever. So yeah, definitely having a clearer vision of some outcomes and bigger goals is important. Once again, to go back to the beginning of this conversation, I know Jamie had talked about it, but it's important to know that if you don't reach that goal or all the goals, it's not a bad thing. And you don't have to be mad at yourself. You don't have to be frustrated. You're still all you have to do is, if you still want to hit that goal, you just move it. You move it to the next. That's why I like the Google Calendar too, because like, oh, I didn't do this today. I'm going to drag it over here, make sure I do it tomorrow.
And just change the date on it.
So things like that. There's another point that I wanted to bring up because I was talking to some of my audience yesterday, and many of them had mentioned something about time, and this gets brought up all the time about time, right? People are like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that, but I can't. I don't have enough time. It's not going to. The thing is, this is my opinion and the way that I view this, because we all have the same issue, right? There's only so much time in a day. So
yeah, we all have the same time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What I do is I try and think of my why. And it doesn't even have to be my total big why. It can be even like a little why for this little thing. Why do I want to do this? If I have compelling enough whys, then I'm going to, it helps me to kind of weigh out, do I have a big enough why to actually do this and complete it? So when my why is big enough and motivates me enough, I'm going to find the time. I'm going to make it happen. Granted, like I said, we all have the same amount of time in a day. So another thing that's been on my plate for this whole past year, and another goal for this year, and I've been working towards it, is to automate as much as I possibly can.
Yes, me too. Systematize. Yep.
yeah, systematize, have structure. And for instance, I did have a goal for myself that I implemented, geez, I don't know, 7 months ago, maybe now, which is my daily tasks that I do as soon as I sit down, grab my coffee, turn on my computer. In my daily task list, I think there's just like 6 things on there, right? But they're the 6 most important things that I need to do to start my day. And
Yes.
that has helped me reach leaps and bounds in little tiny portions, but it has made my life so much easier.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm just giving you all some
Yeah. So it's
ideas.
like a
You know,
task list that you have in your Google Calendar. Because I
yep.
know my husband uses those quite a bit, and I use those when I was like in the workforce,
Well,
whatever you want to call it. Like yeah.
it's not actually in my Google Calendar, but it's in my Google Docs. I created
Oh, okay, okay,
one for myself for what's the most important thing that I need to do. And and I went through each one, like, how can I make this easier? I always ask myself that. How can I make it easier? And how can I automate? Is that possible? And so, yeah, it has really, it's really changed my life with business. I
yeah.
mean,
No, I like
it's
that.
very
So
helpful.
I'm going to pull up 2 comments here that I saw that I wanted to touch on before they got up in there. So Janet said I could buy all the kinds of organizing stuff. So tell me if you're like an office supply junkie, because I could go to an office supply store and pick up every single one of the planners and the like. I have to stay out of places like in December and January like that because I can't. I want to look at all the pens and all like all the sticky
Or right
notes, all the
after when they
everything.
have all the sales, like, oh, everything
Yeah,
is on sale
I just
now.
can't. So she said, I have no problem buying all the organizing stuff. It's the implementing. And I think that Amy kind of touched on that, the compelling reason. I'm taking a course right now that I invested in, and a couple of people are taking with me. And that's the first thing, is coming up with that dream, that compelling reason. And I would ask someone to put this in the comments, because I think these 2 words have helped me to get to a deeper level. Like the $100,000 a year, that's a goal, but so that, like, what is it that is going to make possible making that $100,000? It's so that I
Yeah,
can, it's so
right.
that I can provide, it's so that, like, that's the level that you need to get to. And sometimes you need to go a couple levels deep with that
Yeah,
to get to something that is so emotional to you that it would hurt if you didn't do it.
hmm,
And that's where Amy was talking about. That's what's going to keep you motivated. And so I would say that if you have all the organizing stuff and you have the calendar and you have all the stuff and the implementing is not happening, your goals aren't big enough. They aren't compelling enough. You don't know the real reason why. When I set out a couple of years ago to make $2,500, it wasn't for the purpose of making the $2,500. It was for the purpose of buying a patio set that sits out on my patio that I sit on every single summer and think about, I earned this. I purchased this with the money. We've created memories. We've had people over. And those are the things that you want to visualize. It's not making the $2,500, the $100,000. It's, what does that make possible for you in experiences, helping to serve other people, helping to add value to the community, whatever it is that excites you. That's the level that you need to get to motivate you to do the things when you don't want to do the things. Because like Amy said, when you have a reason like that, you'll figure out a way. You'll find a way. One of the people that I follow, and it's the one that I'm taking the course with, is Brad Bizjack. So he talks about, would you be able to, if you to come up with $100,000 in 24 hours, would you be able to come up with $100,000? And most people are like, no, like, how would I do that? You know, it's always the how. If you have a reason why, so he talks about if your kid was sick, a significant other, your spouse, you know, somebody that you love was sick, and the only way that they would survive is this experimental drug that you could only pay cash with, and it was $100,000, and you need to have it within 24 hours. Then would you find a way? Of course you would. So that $100,000 now doesn't just become $100,000. It's the reason why you do the things, right? And you'll figure out the how. And I think that how is what a lot of us, me included, are looking for. The certainty. He talks a lot about the certainty of something happening and a goal being achieved. And if we don't know all of the ways, we don't know all the things, we don't have everything in place perfectly, it keeps us stuck from even ever taking action.
That's a good point. That
Yeah.
is a good point. And I don't let the little things bug me anymore. In the
Yeah.
beginning, I did, but you need to let go of that perfectionism and just start making some effort and action
Yeah.
towards your goal.
Yeah.
Just
Just
start doing stuff.
Yeah. Yep. So, and then Jenny, that's the Art and Soul studio there. She asked about the link. So I am going to put together, I do have an Amazon affiliate shop. So I'm going to put together tools that I use, like that calendar and some of the other tools that I use for planning out a new year. And I'll have it like in a separate list in my Amazon shop. So I will get that all together and I will put that in here. So I'll definitely, you know, comment there to Jenny's, but if you're interested in having that, we'll just put it 2024 list, you know, just put that in the comments and then I can make sure. And yeah. So I have some other things that I use that are helpful for that too. So yeah. Nilda says she writes all the things in her cute little notebooks. Something about the cute little notebooks, it makes all the difference. Yeah. So let's see. Oh, Nilda says she's making a trip. Oh, with her sisters. Yeah. You know, last year, my husband has talked about for the past couple of years to be like empty nesters for like 4 months while it's cold here in Ohio and go someplace warm. And, you know, I figured at some point I would probably, yeah, that sounds good. Last year, coming back from Florida in October, I'm like, okay, let's start talking about this because this is going to come up. I want to be someplace warm. And we knew that, you know, 4 months, that's a big commitment. And I just said, what if? Those are two other words that I like to just like, what if? Let's just dream. Like, what if? I said, what if we just do 1 month? What if we just do 1 month and we'll see if we can figure that out and, you know, and it wouldn't be, you know, as big of a cost and all this kind of stuff. And I said, all we need to do is find a person who owns a home in Florida and does not want to be there in January, because then we would have that connection and we could rent it from them and it would just be all better. And in my mind, that was my solution. That was how we were going to be able to do that. And it was probably several months after that. I just kept saying it. That's all we need. We just need somebody who will invest in a home for us to be able to stay in January. And in May, that someone showed up and she bought a house. And just a few weeks ago, we signed the contract to spend the whole month in Florida to be, you know, kind of empty nesters for a month.
I wish I had my party blower right here for you, Jamie, because that's pretty awesome.
It really is. We're still, you know, it's only the 45 days away, thinking about the new year and how close that, you know, is coming up. It's a lot to kind of process how to make that happen, honestly. But I wasn't concerned about the how.
I'd also like to be a snowbird for the whole freezing summer. But that has not happened to me. I'm a caretaker of someone in my family, so I can't leave for
Yeah.
long periods of time. But every single summer, winter now, I have gone to Florida or Georgia. The Florida trips have been my business trips with my own accountability group, which is pretty awesome to get together in person and work on business and still get some sunshine. So that's pretty fun. And
Yeah.
then my one of my sisters lives in Georgia, and so I go and visit her. That's on my schedule for it's February for this year. So just like
Oh yeah,
you,
so that'd be good.
it's like
Mhm.
I can't leave for the entire winter, but it is so amazing to have that. And just by envisioning, like you were saying, it came together. But you gotta keep that goal in your mind and make that picture in your mind. And sometimes I think that we are like, oh my gosh, this is great. I'm gonna make this goal, and this is why I want it to happen. I have a good why, but I don't know how I'm gonna get there. I think we get stuck on that. We
Yeah.
don't need to know how we're going to get there, believe it or not. And I'm
Yeah.
that kind of person too that's like, oh, I better figure this out. I know I just told you how I paid my mortgage and bills with my artwork. And, I planned that out as I was working on it. But in the beginning, I didn't know how I was going to get there. I didn't know, I wasn't even techie. I knew how to make a post, and that's
Yeah.
it. It's like, okay, I'm seriously going to sell my art online. Like, how's this going to happen? I don't know anything about online stuff. Um, but I didn't stress and worry about how I was going to get there. I just started and then, kept that vision, and things started to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Um,
I think,
Jenna said
yeah.
something that I thought was interesting.
Which
She
one?
said, Janet, I'm a doer, so no
Oh,
problem
yes.
doing all the things. Yeah. It's finding the perfect system, or the squirrel syndrome, thinking someone else has a better idea for organizing. So I was attracted to this comment because I've been there before
Yeah.
myself. And I told you all how I made that little task list for myself months ago that has helped me grow in my business and make my life easier, and I could automate and systematize, right? So it doesn't matter if Jamie is hanging her yearly calendar and that's how she likes to work. If I want to do my Google Docs form because that's easier. If you want to write it on cards, if you want to write it in your notebook, like we've been talking, it doesn't matter what the
Yeah.
system is. No, you're your own person. You know what you're most attracted to. You know what makes you feel good and what's the easiest for you to do as far as, systematizing and organizing. So you do what's right for you. It doesn't mean you have to do what she's doing or what I'm doing or what anyone else is doing.
Yeah.
It's really up to what makes sense for you in your brain, in the easiest way for you to actually get things done, right?
Yeah. And maintain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because for some people, the idea of going through a task list on Google, I don't come into my studio and look at my computer. So that would not work for me. Like, that's not how I start my day, right in front of the computer. So I would have to have a different system. And that's what I was going to say too. Like, I've talked with Janet. I get it. Like, I get sidetracked and squirrel brained and think, oh, what's this idea that they're doing? And that looks better. And yeah, it's working for them. And I, I've learned that I have to be okay with where I am, and I kind of have to figure out, like you were saying, like what has worked for me. And then if I do get squirrel brained, and I will spend some time watching somebody else, learning what their system is or whatever, even then I have to filter it through. Just like when Amy was saying she's making a list, I'm thinking, yeah, that's great that that works for her, but that wouldn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know yourself and what would work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd say the words perfect, and then that idea of better, I think that keeps us tripped up too. Who gets to decide whether like it's better? And just because it's working for them, is it really better? And could you make more progress towards your goals using the system that you're using than taking the time out to learn a new system, to whatever it is, and then find out, oh yeah, this doesn't really work for me. I still do a lot of things that I know that there are probably more efficient ways. There are probably better, but I continue to do the ways that I know that work. And usually they're much more simplified than what other people use. And
Hmm.
it works for me. And I just give myself permission to not compare,
Yeah.
because I can look for inspiration. That's what I like to call it, instead of comparing. I don't scroll social media to compare myself. I do scroll social media sometimes for inspiration.
Hmm.
So there's more purpose behind that, rather than, there's no empowering purpose in comparing. So that was
Correct.
that was
True.
good. I might
Totally.
I might write that down. There's no
Yeah.
empowering purpose in comparing. I like that.
Someone put that in here. That's a
Yeah.
Jamie quote now. We're all going to be saying that.
There's no impact. I'm on that empowering word for some reason, and
Oh, I
just
love that. That's always
yeah,
been one of my words. I love to empower others
yeah,
and, show them
yeah.
that, hey, you literally can do it if you
And
set your mind to it.
is the opposite disempowering? Is that
I would
what the
imagine.
opposite word
Yeah,
would be? Is it okay?
I would imagine.
It's not unempowering. Okay. So yeah. So
Oh,
old Janet
Eric
says she
put it
uses a
in.
bullet journal. Yep. I've used that one before. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So I wanted to just touch on a couple of things that you just said. I do think it's important for us um, to follow people that are ahead of where we are if we're inspired and empowered by them, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I have my own
Oh yeah.
mentors as well, business coaches, things like that. So I always make sure, are they somewhere ahead of where I want to be? And that usually clues me in, like, yeah, I'm going to pay attention to them. But
Yeah.
even when I'm taking one of their courses or classes or workshops or whatever, and they, for instance, we've been talking about organization and things like that. So even if they're showing me, not just me, but everybody that they're teaching a new platform or system or whatever, I will listen and take the time to implement a bit. But I can usually tell, because I know myself pretty well nowadays, right?
Right.
um I can usually tell, is this going to be worth my time for me to learn the structure of how this works for my brain and the way things work for me,
Yeah.
or not? But I do, test the waters a little bit. So I mean, there's one thing that I use quite a bit is Trello, right? And years ago I didn't know what Trello was. I didn't know how to use Trello. For me now it's pretty easy, and I love the organization and things like that. But I wouldn't have known that could have been easier for me to to help me organize
Unless you
if I
invested a little
didn't,
bit of time.
yeah, if
Yeah.
I didn't try it first. Um, so yeah. And Jamie, just a little side note. That is not, maybe I should have rephrased or said this in a different way, but my daily task list, that is not the first thing I do is turn on my bright computer. I do have a couple cups of coffee that I sip very slowly, right?
We
So it's
talked about that. Yeah.
usually my second cup, because in the morning I get up as slow as I possibly can. I do some stretching. I drink some water. If I feel energized, sometimes I take a walk, or I will just sit outside in nature as long as it's
Yeah.
not freezing or below zero. I'll watch my birds, my cat, and I will just kind of be at one with nature, basically.
Yeah.
I will do a lot of brainstorming and writing, and sometimes just intuitive writing, like you were saying earlier. What's in my brain? What am I thinking about? The bubbles came to you, and things like that. And so then after I'm woken up and I've self-cared
That's
myself,
when you come in.
then I press that button and it's like, okay, let's get to that task list. Yeah.
Janet is just full of little things that I'm pulling out today. Here, Nilda commented that she keeps these little 3x5 notebooks. Yeah, there were years and years where I carried a journal just everywhere, and I still do a lot of times, because I just never know when I might get some inspiration, right?
Yeah.
And I can put it in there, whether that's sketches, quotes, whatever, personal development stuff, whatever it is. So Oh, and then Terry put the quote in there. So there's no empowering purpose in comparison. Love it.
Love it.
But then Janet said, that's why she's here, is because you're inspiring and empowering me. So I think that that's probably a good place. I know. Yeah, we'll give you the little hearts, Janet. So we appreciate all of you too, because it helps us to know what it is that, you know, areas that you're stuck, wherever that is, personal, professional, creative, you know, all of those things. And and have both of our viewpoints together while you're on here, and you know, just that conversation. So we appreciate you, and the fact that you think that we're inspiring and empowering is yeah, just we're just grateful and appreciative. So yeah. So
I second that.
Very good. Well, I appreciate that you can be flexible. Yeah. Yeah. But it looks like my connection is getting lower, so I don't know what's going on. But we've been on about an hour, so I don't want to, you know, keep anybody too much longer. And I do have another 11 o'clock Zoom that I'm getting on. But I would just encourage everyone to go ahead and put in the comments and stick to a date. What is the date that you're going to set before the end of the new year? Couple of hours, set aside a time. Where are you going to go to plan for and reflect on this year, you know, to be able to plan for next year? You don't have to tell us any of your goals or anything like that, but commit to a time and a day, you know, that you're going to set aside for that and get it on your calendar, and keep that date with yourself to do that, right? Because I think that I was having a conversation with somebody last week, I think it was, and she was kind of feeling like she wasn't someone who kept her word to herself. She would say that she was going to do things and then she wouldn't do them. But she had just told me about a time when she did do that. And I said, I want you to take that one time, and that is what I want you to focus on. That one time when you did keep that commitment to yourself, and tell yourself that you are a woman who keeps the commitments to yourself because you did that one time. And just build on those little things that you can do. That if you say you're going to drink 8 ounces of water before every meal, then drink the 8 ounces of water. And then you can continue to say, I'm a person who says, you know, who does what I say that I'm going to do. So yeah. So set that time, set a date, and Trudy's already got a date. She's like, December 26th, I'm going to do 2 hours of working on 2024.
I was just reading that. I'm like, good for her.
That's awesome. She got the date, she got the time, and she's already got it figured out. And I see Nilda putting in a date that she's going to, yep. I will look at my calendar and I will come back and comment my date and time that I'm going to set aside here too, because I think it's important to get that scheduled in before you say, I don't have time. Where'd the time go? So, yep. Very good. Well, Amy, this has been a lot of fun. And I think some great tips from everybody in the comments and from you about just different things that we can do to set some big goals. Yeah.
And you as well, Jamie. It was great to hang out and get some pointers and, you know, talk this through with you, and yeah, had a good time.
Yep. Very good. Well, everybody have a great week. We will not see you until after Thanksgiving. So everybody have a great Thanksgiving and enjoy time away. I'm actually going to take a social media break, I think, the entire day of Thanksgiving. So I'm going to commit to doing that. And yeah, we'll see you back in 2 weeks over on Amy's page. So look for the event. So, okay. Bye, everybody.